44 shit, you know what I mean? Busy man, busy man. Look, when that shit drop, you step all the way on their neck, step on their neck and they head with that shit.
Friday, I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the mud, straight to glory. They don't know how I did it, he nice but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. They mad, I'm too solid, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. No, they want my life, I ain't worried, I got rank for it, I got real soldiers, kill for me, nigga, watch yourself. They said you been in beast mode lately, you is not self. When you dropping that fire, precious marriage, they inquiring. They can't stop what's coming, but I see them conspiring. Cross the line, them firing. This bitch here, finna break the spin on kindness. I don't trust you, circle small. You can keep your features. Me and my niggas don't keep no secrets. And it feel like Jeepers Creepers. Say they want some smoke, dog. So I brought these chimney sweets. Coming like we coming, you can't even count. These niggas don't run it like we running. Bitch, don't even start. Bitch, I'm with my niggas till the end, till them do us part. If you wanna leave, you can leave, bitch. Bless your heart, fine in. I ain't show no mercy, we gon' show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the mud, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel. He nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. Oh, I got a man, circle tight, yeah, vacuum seal. I heard they want my life, I ain't worried, I got rate for real. Take over in effect, yeah, I'm fully focused. You might not see it on me, just know it's women, that bitch fully loaded. Ooh, yeah, we up and rolling. Told them I need major motion. Think I'm joking, I'ma school them niggas like they baby Jody. Got it out the dust, now I'm too clean, don't know why they hate me. What you want out life, dog? Guns and butter, baby boy. You PK top, dog. Certified road runner. I'ma turn that econ line into a damn tank. I got choppers stashed in the attic like they Air Frank. They had that shit on lock till I snapped on them like bolt cutters. You cannot play both sides, gotta choose your colors. See, I'm throwing that one up with that W, that's my blood, bro. Fine in. I ain't show no mercy, I'm gonna show them boy what time it is. I pop out like I'm Samuel, I got time to kill. Haters thought I died, I survived. They don't know how I did it, got it out the dust, straight to glory. They don't know how I feel. He nice, but he don't show them skills, how I show them skills. He ride, but he don't work the wheel, how I work the wheel. Ooh, I got a man, circle tight, yeah, back and seal. Said they want my life, I ain't worried, I got Ray for real. Prepare slaughter. We bout to bombard their whole operation. Certified priest, prophesying this my occupation. This shit outrageous. They done made the truth docile. That's why we on the corner crying aloud, looking hostile. It's UPK style. Can't stop now. Father's warfare couldn't last one round. Let the oppressed rise, and let the rich mourn till the sundown. Enough with this shit, about to make it hot, call it compound. This for my niggas, put the guns in the drums down. Dwelling in peace till the Lord call for the blood hail. Try to decide my death and got beside yourself. Swore drawn for what you perform, how you gon' hide yourself? Devil got to die for his lies and his dreams. Ain't got no love for the crackers, nah, just cruel intentions. And then my father's house is feeding me.
Test. 1 2 1 2. Come on. Okay. We didn't mess up no wire. This should be good. Let me just check the live, make sure the audio is 12. Test 1 2 1 2. Everybody hear me on the live? Should be good to go. I just want to make sure we're not having no issues with the audio. Let's see. Here we go, right here. Count. All good. Most High in Christ, clap it up. Here we go. Yeah, let me move some of these artifacts out the way so everybody can see what we got going on the screen. I want to make sure nobody can see. Shalom, Yahweh Hashem, Yahweh Shah Barakatah. So all the brothers, Yahweh Shema, all the Thun, Hashem, Yahweh Shah, all the sisters. It's the Israelite School of Universal Practical Knowledge. You know what I'm saying? Started at 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. Under Commandant General Yohana. You understand? Been in operation since 1969. Teaching the truth. You know what I'm saying? Teaching the truth according to the Bible. You know what I'm saying? Letting our people know who they really are according to this Bible. The real Jews, so-called blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians are the real Jews according to the Bible. You understand? I want to get rid of that as well. 1 second. I'll leave the backgrounds. Audio's cool. Camera is fine. It should be under general. No sweat. Kyle, we out here. This is the Durham, North Carolina school, right? It's the Friday night Lashawan Qadash class. Priest and officer of 1,000, Thabawan, holding it down as usual, back in the spot. You know what I'm saying? But today, of course, I got my brother, Officer of 500 Yanazar, with me back in effect. Back in the building. There we go. Just show display names. Get rid of that. Perfect. You know what I'm saying? Back in the building, right? So we're going to get rocking and rolling and get right into it. This being the Hebrew class, right? Lashawan Qadash, Hebrew class. You feel me? We're going to talk some things, get into some topics that relate to what? Our culture. You know, that's always the word I like to use to describe what we're doing here. Because that's really what it is. It's like we're returning to our culture. You know what I mean? We're returning to our culture that was stolen from us. Give me Psalms 83, Baba Kusha. Give me Psalms 83, if you could. We're gonna start with this scripture. We're gonna start with this scripture right here. Because this is because this one right here is very important to understanding the history of this culture that we lost, right? That's what we're getting into. That's what we're talking about. Go ahead, brother. When you got it, start at verse 1. Start to the 83 and verse 1. That's what we're going to start with today. We're going to go through Psalms 83 and verse 1. Psalms 83 and 1. Where's my eraser? Here we go. Time for today's agenda, right? I love to read a couple of scriptures first and foremost. So Psalms 83 and 1. Or Psalms 83. Right, we have a prayer, right, that starts in Psalms 83, or that is in Psalms 83, right? And we're going to read that. We're also going to read Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6 as well. To pair those two together. We'll do a review of the alphabet. Salakia. Prepositions and possessives. And we'll talk about the names of the 7 heads, right? Get a little bit of 1 West history. You know what I'm saying? That's important to know where we started, where we came from. All right. So when you got a chance, read that, brother.
This is the book of Psalms, chapter 83 and verse 1. Keep not thou silence, O God.
Mm-hmm.
Hold not thy peace,
Mm-hmm.
and be not still, O God.
Right. Now we know who's talking right here.
This is King David, sir.
This is King David, right? And what is King David saying?
If I may, sir.
Please.
Yes, he's calling on the Most High to hear him and to respond to his prayer with some action.
There you go, right? With some action. Keep not thou silence, right? He don't want the Lord to just chill, right? Why is he saying that?
Something must be done about this.
Right, absolutely. Something must be done. Excuse me. Something must be done, right? But you're right, but think about it like, okay, if something must be done, why is he telling the Lord not to be silent? Why those words? Like, why would he choose to word it like that? Read it from the top. Because you're right, but I want to know what was happening before this that would make him say that. Go ahead.
Keep not thou silence.
Right. Keep not thou silence. What does that mean?
That means that the Lord ain't said nothing about it up to this point.
Right. The Lord has been silent. Right. So he's saying, don't keep your silence. Go ahead.
O God, hold not thy peace, and be not still, O God.
Right. Go ahead.
Verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. Verse 3.
They that hate who?
They have hate the Most High.
Right.
Right.
They hate the Most High, right? And they're going to show how they hate the Most High. Go ahead.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
That's how they show they hate God, right? Now, we're going to get into that in just a second. Just bear with me just one moment.
And consulted against.
Hold on 1 second. Hey, Shalom, Mark. How was your guitar? Count, no sweat. If you got any questions or anything, you know what I'm saying, you just unmute yourself and you know what I'm saying, make sure your mic is on. I should be able to hear you. You know what I'm saying? Just go ahead and just say, Salakia, I'll hear you, and I can go ahead and just answer the question if you have it. Okay? The water. Right. Now read that from start of verse 2.
Okay. This is the 83rd Psalm, verse 2. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
So the Lord has what?
Enemies make a tumult.
His enemies made a tumult. So they've shown that they hate the Most High by doing what? By hating his people, right? And that's what we see happening today. It's the same thing. If you want to know who God loves, all you got to do is look at who hates God. All you got to do is look at the people who continuously show that they hate God and the people who they hate. And then you'll know that's God's people. No other people on the face of the earth is hated the way Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians are hated. It's not even close. Period, point blank. You can't look at anybody else and show me another nation of people. Don't show me one individual. Show me another nation of people who are hated the way that Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians are. You can't find it, and you won't find it. All these nations are in league with one another. You understand? They all are in league with one another to destroy us. We're reading about the history right now. We're reading about the way that Blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians live in America right now from a book that was written thousands of years ago. You had something? You know,
I was just going to say, you know,
please.
Jero Mayaka Allah I was just listening to him break this down, you know, and he was pointing out how the other nations were able to come to America and establish their communities, even though their home nation is our enemy.
Right.
And the police don't go into their communities, patrolling their communities.
Nope.
Like nothing.
That's right.
But we who have been the most loyal Americans of all the nations, there's nobody more loyal to America than Black people.
That's it.
But yet we're the ones that are trampled upon, sir.
That's a heavy point. That's what it is, right? I mean, damn. We didn't run no planes into the Twin Towers. You know what I'm saying? We didn't bomb Pearl Harbor. You know what I mean? We didn't go to war in the Gulf with America. We didn't do that. If anything, we fought on America's side against who? Against Korea, against Vietnam, against Afghanistan and Iran and Iraq. We fought with them against these people. We never did these things. But are they the ones living in the ghettos of America? No. No. You know what I'm saying? Ain't no a bunch of Arabs living in the ghettos of Brownsville and the ghettos of, you know what I'm saying, North Carolina. Please.
They're allowed to prosper in harmonious communities.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And we're not. Like,
right.
Our economics is destroyed on every turn.
And that's their plan. So read the script, read verse 3. Or finish verse 2 if you haven't finished it.
And they that hate thee have lifted up the head.
Read on.
Verse 3. They have taken crafty counsel against thy people.
Against thy people, the Lord's people. Go ahead.
And consulted against thy hidden ones.
Read on.
Verse 4. They have said, come and let us cut them off.
Let's do what?
Cut them off.
Let's do what?
Cut them off.
Let's cut them off. Go ahead.
From being a nation.
From being a nation. Go ahead.
That the name of Israel.
That the name of Israel, Yasha Allah in the Hebrew, blacks, Latinos, and Native Indians. Go ahead.
May be no more in remembrance.
And that name is no more in remembrance, because you tell a black man he's an Israelite and he looks at you like you got 3 heads. You understand? That name is no more in remembrance because the other nations were confederate against us. We're about to read that part. Read on.
Verse 5. For they have consulted together with one consent.
This is why we go to camp and we blaze on all the other nations, man. We blaze on all of them. Obviously, the oppressor is number one. He's the number one enemy of the Most High because he's the number one enemy of the Israelites, right? But all these nations are confederate against us. Go ahead.
They are confederate against thee.
Against the Most High. They hate God. Go ahead.
Verse 6. The tabernacles of Edom.
Right, and it goes in and starts to name all the different nations. All of them. It names some of bunch of Hamites and a bunch of Edomites and other people that come from Shem but are not our brothers, man. The so-called Arabs, you know what I'm saying? It names them. It names all these different nations. Go ahead.
Salakia, sir. If I may, like, I just remember last year when Commander General Yohana said that they was going to put the Africans and the East Indians over us. And I've watched what has transpired since then. And lo and behold, brother, those are the 2 nations. Like, I watched the commercials, right, where they used to use black people to portray a person of color. Now they have Elamites. And then you watch all of the movies, like this movie, what is it? The Warrior King, Female King, whatever the hell it is. The star is a Judite, I believe. But most of the rest of the cast is Hamites.
I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked, right? It's all in line. It's all in plot. Now give me Deuteronomy chapter 7 and verse 6, man. It says that they didn't want Israel they wanted to cut us off from being a nation, right? We're not going to get the definition, but usually in this class, we'll get the definition of nation where it says a group of people or an aggregate of people who are joined together by common descent, history, culture, language, land, so on and so forth. They cut us off. That's why a black man hates a Latino man. A Latino man hates a Native American Indian man. A black woman hates a Native American Indian woman. And so on and so forth. Go ahead, Giannis.
One more thing.
Please.
I was listening to a brother. He was on Cross the Line Radio. And he was caught up in tribalism. So he was saying that the Hispanic tribes and the Native Indian tribes don't want to be under us because we always talking about black this, black that, black this, black that. So and Captain Tazariak and Captain Katazar broke it down to exactly what you were just saying, because what they've done is they've divided us against you. They'll accept it. They'll accept that they're Israelites, but they won't come they don't want to come under us, so to speak. Like they think that we want to rule over them.
Well, that would be really ridiculous and stupid to say, because especially considering you mentioned Captain Tazar and Captain Katazar. Now, Captain Katazar is an Ephraimite. Captain Katazar walks in this room right now. I'm obeying every order that he gives me. He's not a black man, or he is a black man, but not by their standards or definitions. So if we just want black people to be in charge all the time, I mean, they must have never met Captain Katazar, Captain Ash. What about we got some Captain Soccer War is not even a so-called Negro. Captain Soccer War is a Gadite. Go ahead.
And also, sir, they haven't read the scriptures, because when he talks about the kingdom and the 12 gates, it doesn't say Judah.
Right.
It doesn't say Levi.
Right.
It doesn't say Benjamin. It says the 12 tribes.
That's you use the perfect word, tribalism. We don't get into none of that. Give me Deuteronomy 7 and 6 before we get right into this Hebrew. We don't take too much time, right?
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7.
We don't get into tribalism because none of that is in the Bible. There is no such thing as the head tribe or the most important tribe. That no tribe rules over another tribe. That's a lie. That's not in the Bible.
We made that shit up.
Right.
Man.
Judah does not rule over the other tribes. Christ is our king. He's our king who happens to be what? A Judite. That's it. That's it. Nothing more, nothing less. It doesn't make him more available to be ready to be king because he's a Judite. No, he just comes from the line of kings. David was chosen. The Most High chose David to be on the throne forever. So his line is going to be on the throne forever. But it has nothing to do with how Israel is ran. You know, no tribe is over another tribe. It means absolutely nothing. Go ahead, brother. Let's see if this scripture has tribalism in it. Go ahead.
This is the book of Deuteronomy, chapter 7 and verse 6. For thou art an holy people.
For thou art a what?
An holy people.
Thou art a holy people. Is it talking about just Judah?
La'asa.
Is it talking about just Ephraim?
La'asa.
It's talking about just Simeon, just Levi, Naphtali, Benjamin. No, it's talking about the 12 tribes of Israel. Go ahead.
Unto the Lord thy God.
Right. This is what we lost. This relationship with the Most High is what we lost because they cut us off from being a nation. Go ahead.
The Lord thy God hath chosen thee.
Not Judah. He chose Israel. Go ahead.
To be a special people.
Right.
Unto himself.
Right. He chose the entire nation to be a special people unto himself. Go ahead.
Above.
Go ahead.
All people.
Everyone else.
That are upon the face of the earth.
Plain and simple. That's it. You understand? And that's what we lost, man. That's the culture that we got to get back to. So let's get into this Hebrew. We'll do I want to do a quick alphabet review, right? So I started a little something here, breaking down how we read a certain scripture, but let's forget that for now. It's no sweat. Let's forget this. Let's review the alphabet. It's always good to review the alphabet. Let's start with the ancient. Yanazar, you know what time it is. You know what I'm saying, brother? The penmanship is I need it out because you know what I'm saying. Everybody online can see it so excellently. So if it's not too much, Baba Kusha, could you please, right? So obviously Yanazar is going to begin to write the ancient Hebrew on this side of the board. You know what I'm saying? The water, brother. He's going to write the ancient Hebrew. I'm going to move the camera. Hopefully, I want everybody to be able to see it. Most High Christ. That should be fine, right? And while he's doing that, again, I'm not going to expound too much on it, get into too much detail. We've done a few classes ago. We'll probably do it again, but we don't need to get into it too far today. We just need to recall that each one of these letters, you may call it, comes from a, you may call them pictographs, right? Let's look at the definition of a pictograph while Yanazar is so eloquently writing on the board. A pictograph, right? This is from the Oxford. Is this Oxford? Which one is this? Can't see which dictionary it is. Oxford Languages. Pictograph, a pictorial symbol for a word or phrase. Pictographs were used as the earliest known form of writing. Examples have been discovered in Egypt and Mesopotamia from before 3000 BC. Right? Pictorial symbols. Right, and a pictograph, an ancient or prehistoric drawing or painting on a rock. Right? Now, the reason why we're calling these pictographs is because each of these is a picture. Right? It's a alphabet system that is predicated on essentially pictures. You're drawing something. When you draw any of these, you're actually drawing something. You understand? The water, brother. These are not just symbols that just are there for for nothing. It's not like someone just say, okay, we're gonna make a language. You're gonna say that this symbol right here is whatever sound, right? And then we'll say this symbol is such and such sound, and then we'll say this is another sound, and they have no bearing on anything. It's just randomly. I just decided, I just made it up. That's not Hebrew, okay? That's not where Hebrew comes from. Hebrew originates, right, Hey, we got young man Justin in the spot. What's going on, Ak? Shalom, Yahweh, Shemal, Shabrakatha. Right? Hebrew originates from symbols representing actual existing things. Okay? So, for example, one of these symbols represents a tent. One of these symbols represents a tent. Okay? Can anybody guess? First of all, can everybody see? I think, you know what? Let me move it a little bit. I think the glare might be messing with y'all a little bit. Salakia. Bear with me. Fully remove the glare, but that should be a little bit better, right? That should be a little bit better for y'all to see. Okay? I think that's pretty decent. Now, one of these symbols represents a tent. Who knows which of these symbols represents a tent? Yanazar.
The Ga, sir.
The what?
The Ga.
La'ah. La'ah, close, but not the Ga. And what does the Ga represent? What word does the Ga come from? And that's another thing. Each of these symbols is attached to a word. Go ahead.
It's the Da.
Close again. First, let's deal with the Ga. That was your first guess.
I got it.
The Ga, so this symbol right here, right? This one. This symbol is the Ga. Right? That's the sound it makes. Ga. Right. And the Ga, the word from which it stems is gamal. Gamal. Right? Gamal is the original way to say the name of a certain animal, a certain well-known animal, certainly an animal that's very common in the Middle East, right? Anybody guess what animal that is? That's it, right? The camel.
It is the camel.
Salakia. Right. Gamal is the ancient Hebrew word for camel. Right? So guess what? So this symbol, this Ga, now you should be able to guess what it represents. Y'all see it? Sister said it's Ba the tent Khan. Ba is the tent. That is correct. So this is the Ba, right? This symbol right here is the Ba. And it represents a tent. But what does the Ga represent? We know that it means camel. So what is the symbol supposed to be? There we go. This is the hump of a camel's hump. Right? That is a camel's hump. We talked about that today actually in a radio show. You know what I'm saying? Camel's hump is something that Moabites love to eat. Yep. Moabites eat camel's hump. Okay. Right? Anything. We also talked about on the show today about there was just a big bust in Nigeria. The Nigerian officials basically foiled a plan by Nigerian smugglers to smuggle about 7,000 donkey penises from Nigeria to Hong Kong. It sounds like I'm telling a joke. This is not a joke. You can Google this. Nigerian officials caught smugglers smuggling donkey penises, big bags of donkey penises, and trying to smuggle them into Hong Kong. Look it up. I believe they were going to eat them for sure, but they claim it's, they got all kinds of ancient Chinese medicines, medicinal. They're going to medicinally make donkey penis soup in Hong Kong. You know what I'm saying? That's what they do. No sweat. Hey, you know what I'm saying? Now we wonder why we have coronavirus running amok all over the earth, right? But it represents a camel's hump. The ba comes from the word banath, right? Which means a tent. How does this symbol represent a tent? Because the top of the tent is represented by this triangular figure. It's like right? Excuse me. Like this. It's a triangle. Boom, right? This triangle. This is the tent sitting on the ground. And then this hook is to represent, right, the hook or hooks that go into the ground to do what? To prevent the tent from moving, right? Often, and you'll see this with a lot of these, when you see like a symbol that kind of has like a tail that kind of goes down, usually this, everything up here represents something above ground, everything below represents something below ground, or it represents the relationship between two things that are one being above ground, one being below ground. There's a relationship between the earth and the water. Okay, or just, excuse me, between above ground and below ground. Another example of this type of thing would be what letter? Right? Got a few of them. Can anybody think of another letter that has this type of feature here, with the tail going down and representing some relationship between something above ground, below ground, or something to that effect? The na, right? That's a good one, right? The na. Do you remember the word that it comes from? Right, which means to sprout, right? Like to plant something or something that has sprouted from the earth. I'm going to let's see. Because I got rid of that, so we'll get rid of this for now. We'll use this side. Right. So the na, this is the na right here. The na means, from the word nawan, means to sprout. Right? And so the symbol, this symbol right here, is representative of putting a seed in the ground. So again, this tail, right, is showing a relationship between above ground and below ground. The seed that goes into the ground. In this case, it's the tent that sits above the ground, but is tethered to the ground by some mechanism. Okay? Now, what's another one? Can we think of another one? What about the ma, Khan, right? Did I erase the? Oh, it's up there, right? The ma. Comes from what word? Mayam, which means water. If you haven't figured it out by now, each of the words from which these letters, or that these letters are denoted by, they're related to the symbol. So mayam means water, right? And this is the symbol. Again, what's the relationship between the two? Relationship being that the water, you ever hear Sea level, right? Below sea level, above sea level, things like that. The water sits in, it's like a how do I say it? Like the water is almost like a buffer between what's above ground and what's below ground. Because if you think of the earth, right? The entire earth that we walk on, right? You got land, right? You got land, but then the land, there's shores that really go like this. The ocean that's not even adequate at all for you to fathom just how deep the oceans are. The oceans, you know what I'm saying? You got the water, and you got the shores, come down like this, right? But then it goes way, 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 way down, right? But of course, what sits in below here, but meets up here and levels out up here? The waters, right? Right? So the water represents something of this relationship between the flat land and what's underground. Okay? So the waters. Let's see. What else we got? So that was the ba. So let's just run through these real quick, right? Let's just get all the actual sounds, right? And we'll do some more. Da. Now, which one is da? And what word does it come from? The what? The lath, right? Ka. Ta. Ya. Ka. La. Za. Qua. Ra. Sha. And tha. Okay. That word is dalath, which means what? It means a door. So this symbol is made to represent the doorway of a banath, which is a tent. So think of a tent, right? This is the tent itself. This is the tent, right? Right? But then there's the doorway in the middle, right? That where you enter. So of course this being the ground. So just think of like with the grass, right? A doorway. Okay. What about the first letter of the alphabet? What about the ah? Mm-hmm. Yep. The ah comes from the word alap. Right? Cow. Which, as we spoke about before, would have been written very differently historically. Let's see if we can remember it. One second. Right? It would have looked something like this. Right? The problem with that, as we said before, is that it's just not practical. It's just not practical to draw that every single time you have to write an ah, right? So this form, these are not the oldest symbols, right? Let's not mistake that. We've made that mistake before. No sweat. We can adjust it. Or my mistake personally, not mistake on the school, but my mistake. Our language is oldest, but these particular symbols are not the oldest. Okay? These particular symbols are the oldest, or they're better yet, yeah, they're not the oldest symbols, but they're the ones that were the first to, again, to be practical. They're the first that could be used by just your average Joe, just your average person who would be able, you know what I'm saying, to write a grocery list or something like that. That's what we would say. Okay. Let's get a couple more before we move on, right? Or better yet, let's just go ahead and just go right through them. Let's just go through these sonically, how these supposed to sound, all right? So, of course, we're going to start at the very beginning. And if you listening in at home, just try to follow us. We're just going to run through them, all right? All righty, here we go. Ah, ba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ha, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, za, qua, ra, sha, tha. It's that those are the only sounds, and it's good to see this because these are the only sounds you're going to ever use in Hebrew, period, point blank, ever, no matter what, all the time, right? You don't have to think of any other sounds. O, forget about it. E, forget about it. U, forget about it. Forget about it. You know what I'm saying? You don't need any of that. All you need is these sounds right here. They're going to formulate every single word we are ever going to say ever in Hebrew. There's no new sound is going to be formed. No new vowel is going to pop up. No. Everything we say can be broken down with just these letters. You want to say shalom. That's how we greet each other, right? That's how you say peace in Hebrew. You want to say shalom, right? Well, this is how you're going to do it. You're going to take now in Hebrew, as you can see, the first letter was written up here in the upper right, and then Yanazar went which way? Went left, because Hebrew is written from right to left. So that's what we're going to do. If we want to say, we're going to transliterate it. If we want to say shalom, which would be spelled in English like this, shalom, all we're going to do is write it out, is sound it out, but write it in the opposite direction. We got a sha, so we're going to do what? Write a sha. We got a la, so what we're going to do? We're going to write a la. Then we have this m, right? There's no ma, but we know it has to be in a ma because you can't get this m without a ma, right? It's just that there's a connector here, so that's how we know why there's no extra a here, right? And then we also know that all of our symbols are consonants. So they don't need any vowels. There are no vowels, written vowels, right? They all represent a consonantal sound, right? So then you put a ma. And so you make sure you don't say shalama. You would write like this. You would put these connectors. 1, 2. This upside down one tells you that this symbol is going to be one syllable. So it's going to be sha, and this tells you that these two symbols will form one syllable. They have to share a quote unquote vowel sound. So there won't be a lama, it'll just be lum. That's what these connectors tell you. Okay? Another example, if we want to say, okay, so this word right here, dalath. Let's just do the ones we have on the board, right? If we want to write dalath, we're going to do the same thing. We're going to write a da, so let's say dalath. We're going to write a da. We know that's the beginning of the word. Da, so we got a da. Then we have a what? Then we have a la. So, yeah, let me move the camera a little bit, Salaki. Right? We got a da, then we have a la. Obviously, we can see what English letter comes from this. Right? They stole that from Hebrew. Da, la, and we got this th, which of course comes from tha. That's the only way you can get a th is tha, right? But again, it's how many syllables in this word? Da, lath, 2 syllables. So we're going to need at least 2 of these connecting symbols. We know that the da is its own syllable, so da, and then lath is joined together. It's forming 1 syllable, so these have to be connected. All right? Let's get another one to show a little slight difference, but that still will demonstrate the way in which we formulate these words. So let's say alap, which means cow. Alap, right? So what we're gonna do? Same thing. We see there's a ah. That's the only way you can get that. Is if you write a ah symbol. Then we see a la, and we see a what? This p. So it has to come from pa. Has to. Right? Alap. But it doesn't say pa, it says alap. So same thing again. A is its own syllable. La and pa form lap. 1 syllable, they have to be connected. I thought that was a little bit different, but there's no sweat, right? So let me think of it. I'll do a random word so you can see how that doesn't always work exactly the same way. Let's do a random word. Let's do let's go with bear with me. Levi. Let's go with Levi. Right, the Levites, right, the so-called Haitians. They're from the tribe of Levi. All right. So we would write that as such. Well, actually, no, I'm gonna write it in Hebrew first, and let's see who can spell it out. So this is how you write Levi in Hebrew. Everybody see that? Actually, no, I'm gonna write it a little bit larger. How would we write that with English letters? This Hebrew word. How we also, and what we're asking when we say that, how will we say this word? Because this is telling you how to say the word. So how do we say this word in how do we say it? And this how do we write it in English? We call that transliteration. Taking the Hebrew and writing out Hebrew word and writing it out with English letters or the letters of another language. In the meantime, I'm just gonna put it on. See, you gotta do. You just take it, plug it in. In. Let's see if anybody got it. If not, it's no sweat. No sweat. Okay. So we're going to just sound it out the way we would do, in English. We're just going to sound it out. So if we got Allah, let's just write down the letters we see. Let's just start there, right? we see a la, right? But because we have this connector, right here, this is a wa. So we would write, if we were just to write it without thinking about connectors, we would write this. Lawaya or lawaya, right? But that's not correct. Lawaya actually is a different word that does not mean what this word means, right? So this connector does what again? It causes or creates a syllable with 2 letters, right? I like to think of it like this. Think of the connectors as doing the job that written vowels do in English, okay? Hebrew doesn't have written vowels. English has written vowels, you know what I'm saying? So when you say a word, if you say man, say the word man, there's a vowel here that is the nucleus of that word. If you say bed, there's a vowel here that is the nucleus of that, excuse me, not that word, that syllable. So if you have multiple syllables, we're generally going to have multiple vowels in English. Man, bed. But what if we want to say woman? Woman, that has 2 syllables. And it also has what? 2 vowels, because the vowels form the nucleus of a syllable. War, man. We don't have written vowels in Hebrew. Every single letter here is a consonant. Every single one. That's why when they take Hebrew words, you'll see them in your scholarly books and in your textbooks. When they take a Hebrew word and attempt to translate it or transliterate it, right? There's no vowels, right? So here's an example. An example would be the Tetragrammaton, but I'm not going to use that right now. For now, I'll use King David's name. If you look in a textbook, right, that talks about King David's name or whatever, or is trying to study his name or study the ancient Hebrew, you'll see them write it like this. Or like this. The reason why they do that is because they're trying to demonstrate that there's no written vowels in ancient Hebrew. When you write now, when we know that King David's name in ancient Hebrew was what? Dawadah, right? So when we write it out like this. Because this is a transliteration where we're just trying to be able to say his name. We're not showing the linguistic connection. We're trying to actually say his name. And in English, you need these vowels to do that in English. But Hebrew doesn't have them. So that's why they'll write it this way to reflect that fact, to show you, well, we don't want to we're not going to put these vowels there because really they're not there. Okay? They're implied and they know that. Okay? That's another reason why all the little dots and everything is a joke. Because your scholars know that ancient Hebrew didn't have any of that. Okay? So now, but in ancient Hebrew, connectors do that function. Connectors are what tells us how many syllables or how to form a syllable. Right? So, but that being said, This word, if you see two of these, no matter how many, it could be, again, this one right here, this upside down one, or this, like, think of it like a smile. This one shows that two letters connect to form a syllable. This one shows that the letter by itself is its own syllable. But no matter how many or what combination you see, if you see three like this, it's three syllables. If you see three like this, it's three syllables. If you see like this, well, you actually, you can't see that. That's actually, you can. It's three syllables. You understand? That's how this is what we use to find out how to say the proper way to say the word, how many syllables, and so on, right? So in this case, this is what? Two syllables. So la wa ya is three, so it can't be right. This is two syllables, and these first two letters, the la and the wa, connect to form what? One syllable. So it can't be la wa ya. We have to eliminate that letter. Law. It's law. Yeah. Lawya. That's how you say Levi. That's how you say Levi in ancient Hebrew. Lawya. All right. Most High in Christ. Now, that's the ancient. And that's how we use it, right? That's how we read it and everything. Okay. But now let's erase the ancient symbols, right? We did the ancient, we know the ancient. Let's do the Assyrian real quick before we get into a little topic for today. All right. Now the ancient, of course, we use when we write things personally, but we have to know the Assyrian for reading the Tanakh. We have to know the Assyrian for reading in the Sabbath service. And we want to perfect it. Study both. We want to study both. Certainly so we can pass our officers test. Right? But the Assyrian is going to be more prominent in our lives for now. We're going to see it way more. We're going to use it way more. Right? Not to be confused with any other fake form of Hebrew. Just because they use the same symbols, it's not the same language. As we see, right? Right. Yod and things like that. Just because they use the same symbols does not mean it's the same language. No different than if I write, we did this before. If I write this, Vladimir, that's not English. It's English letters, but it's not an English word. I'm just using English letters, I'm using English letters so I can say this name because I don't know how to read Russian. You understand what I'm saying? Just like if I say, hola, ¿cómo estás, right? That's not English. Using English letters, but that's not English. This is Spanish, right? So keep that in mind when we do this Assyrian. It doesn't mean that it's a different language just because it's using different symbols, okay? All right. if you want to see these symbols in action, which we'll probably do by the end of the class, just look in your blueletterbible.org, and that's where you'll see these particular symbols. Okay. Yeah, just leave it like this. God. And also, there's 5 letters that at the end of a word have utilize a different symbol. Okay. So for one, the ka is the first one, I believe. This is the ka. Slack it. The next is going to be the ma. So this this is just like, imagine you're writing on like a line. It's going to extend down past the line. Then you have the ma. It's going to look like this. It's going to be enclosed now. All right, the ma. Then you have the na. The pa. And the was that no, and the tzah. Slovakia. The tzah is gonna extend down like this. All right. Tzah. All right. Which is going to be important for us when we're reading in the Sabbath service. So how then do we formulate words with this? The exact same way. The exact same way as we would in the ancient. So how would we write out a word like how do you say day in Hebrew? Correct.
Yawam.
Okay, one second. You absolutely correct. Let's see. Right, and not yom. Notice the brother did not say yom. That would have been incorrect. Right? He said yawam because that is the proper word. Right? So the Hebrew word for day is yawam. And how would we write this? What do we do when we were dealing with the ancient? We sounded it out. We would do the same thing. We have a yah. So what we're going to do, we're going to write a yah. We have a wah. What are we going to do? We're going to write a wah. and we have a M, which comes from ma, has to come from ma. So we're going to write a ma, but except it's going to be at the end of a word. So we're going to use this particular symbol. I don't know if y'all can see that. We're going to use that symbol, right? The one at the end of the word. So it will be like this. Right? Yawum. Right? Now let's see. Let's go to the blueletterbible.org and see if we're correct, because that's where we're going to be able to see these symbols. We're not going to be able to check the ancient, or we can, but not on a website like Blue Letter or something where it's like readily available. To confirm it, we're going to have to use things like a concordance, Blue Letter Bible, and so on and so forth. Okay? So let's go to Blue Letter Bible and let's look up the word day. All right. We're going to scroll down. We're going to go to H3117. H3117 is going to be the word we're looking for, right? Now, I'm going to show you this symbol. Now, remember what we just wrote. We said day is Yawum, and we wrote it out. This is how you write Yawum in Assyrian Hebrew, right? Now, I'm going to show you the symbol, and I'm going to let you hear how they say it, and me and Yanazar are going to laugh. Here we go. So look. All right, y'all see that? Y'all see that symbol? Or those letters? You see it's the exact same thing we wrote. It's the exact, sorry for the glare and everything. It's the exact same thing that we wrote on the board. I'm trying to get those a little fuzzy. But there it is. Okay? That's what we wrote. But we said this word is Yawum. Let's see what they say. Come on, don't do that. See, they're being stingy now. They don't want us to laugh. No sweat, see? It's acting up. I got something for him, though. You're not going to take away my ability. Let me add you back in, brother. Salakia. So again, brother, if you got any questions, young man Henry, if you got any questions, just, you know what I'm saying, just unmute yourself and just go ahead and just say Salakia, and I'll get to your question if you got one.
Yeah, I'm good, thank you. I'm following along.
Khan, no sweat. Most High in Christ. The water. All right. So now I want y'all to hear the difference between how they say it and how we say it. I want you to hear it. I try to do it on my phone. Acting crazy. No sweat. It's that. For H3117. I'm gonna press the button so y'all should be able to hear it, right? Y'all should be able to hear it.
Strong's H3117. Yom. Yom.
You heard that? Now we said Yawum. They said
Strong's H3117. Yom. Yom.
Right. They say Yom, right? Which is why they say what? Yom Kippur. Yom, whatever they have, their word for day is Yom. And guess what? And they don't write it like Yom. They write it like this. Yom Kippur or Yom Kippur, right? Showing you that we're not even speaking the same damn language. Okay? Whatever they're speaking is not ancient Hebrew. Because you know how you know it's not ancient Hebrew? Because how could you simultaneously say that the Tetragrammaton, which comes from these letters, right? We're just going to write it real quick. The Tetragrammaton that comes from these letters right? And when they, in their scholarly books, you know what they write? Well, they write Y. They write Y, H, W, H. That's what they write. So that means they understand how these letters work. They understand it. So then if we were to do that with this word, we would be forced to do what? We would have to write Y, W, M. You have to. So then, how is this going to be Yom when there's a fat W in the middle of the word and you got these three letters? How are you going to say Yom? I've never heard of a silent W. Now, I know where it comes from. It comes from their silliness with matrix lectionis and them believing you can change the sound and that a consonant can become a vowel, and you know what I'm saying? And then there's also a relationship linguistically between the W sound and the O sound. They're related, right? But no. This is Yawum. Okay? Keep that in mind. See them joints getting white? Salaki, bear with me just a second. So what I do is, I put it, you gotta be very careful with it. Hot as fuck. No. Count. You ain't gonna flip it. I would grab them like this, throw them in there. But now we'll just leave it right here because this shit gets so hot. I wouldn't touch it. You want to do that process over there. You know what I'm saying? But you can see you can't get it to smoke a little bit. And they'll stay hot for some time. So every time we want to smoke, just kind of mess with it with these. Yep. Con. So let's try another word. Okay, what's the word for night? Since we did day, what's the Hebrew word for night? The Hebrew word for night is la yala. La yala. That is the Hebrew word for night. La yala. And we're going to do the exact same thing again. The exact same thing. We're just going to sound it out. We're going to write every consonant we see. Every consonant we see, we're going to make sure that it's accounted for. Every single one. So we have a la. We have a ya. We have another la. And we have a ha. So you might notice by now there's no connectors. That's the difference. There's no connectors in Assyrian Hebrew, so we don't know, right? Luckily, we're dealing with words that we know, so, we don't have to stress ourselves. We already know where the connectors is. The trouble comes from when you see this, but you don't already know this. When you're reading the Tanakh, which we have right here in the school, when you're reading the Tanakh, when you're reading this and you don't have connectors, it's a lot tougher. If I try to read this, right, lakal or ha'arataza, la'a, nashayathia, wala'a, nashawa, baya, right, rayab, wa'ayash, right, model one. Like, that comes from experience. If you got to know the words to some degree. I don't know a lot of these words. I'm not even sure I just said all of them correctly, but, to the best of my ability, what I know, that's how you have to read it when you don't know this already. Okay, but that's why you got to learn what the word for day is, yawam, and night, layala, and try to read ahead of time. So that way, when you know you're reading the scripture that says, in the day and the night, you're going to know ahead of time that, okay, so yawam is probably in the sentence. Or if I see this combination of letters, and it says day, this is yawam. If I see this combination of letters and it says night, that's layala. Okay. Now, let's see. Let's show it also. Let's do it in the Blue Letter Bible. Not Blue Letter. Strong's. We did one in Blue Letter. Let's see one in Strong's. Let's go. We're going to show you how to use the Strong's Concordance real quick. Just a second ago, you'll notice that we went to the Blue Letter, and we were in the Blue Letter. They gave us a number, and we followed that number to get that word. You know what I'm saying? So now, let's use the Strong's, the physical Strong's, to find this word, and let's see what it says. So we're looking for the word night. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the main section of the Strong's and find the English word night. The word night, and as the brother pointed out, you see it right here, right? So night, you see this word, because a lot of times there'll be different words used for the same English word, or the same English word will be used to describe different Hebrew words. But we see this one is the one that we see the most. H3915, almost exclusively. See that? So we went to the word night. Went to the word night, right? And then we see next to them, see these numbers right here. 3915. 3915. Hey, Shalom, young man Rico, what's going on, Op? Shalom, Yahweh Shkata. Shalom, Officer Yar mocking the spot. What's going on, bro? Yahweh Shkata. Right, shalom to the sis. Yahweh Shalom by Shema Shah. So now we found the word in the Strong's Concordance in our lexicon, right? And we see this number H3915. So now what we're going to do is go to the actual lexical section of it, right? Go to the front so you can see it, right? So then you'll see it says Dictionary of Hebrew and Aramaic Words. Dictionary of Hebrew and Aramaic Words. We're going to go to that number. What was that number again, Yanazar?
39.
So the H, the H means Hebrew. Sometimes you'll see a G if it's from the New Testament, because we know that the Bible, right, the Old Testament is from the Hebrew and the New Testament is from the Greek. The New Testament, right, the oldest form that we have is written in the Greek, right? Because that was, again, at the time, was the time, well, actually it was past the time of the Greeks, but it was the time where Greek was arguably the most spoken language in the world at the time. You know, it would be like English today. If someone writes a book and doesn't write an English version of it, what's even the point of it? No one's going to read it. You know what I'm saying? Every major book is going to have an English version of it for the most part. So that's the same thing with Greek at the time. That was the most common language. So the New Testament, which took place at that time, was written into the Greek. Okay? The Apocrypha, on the other hand, was translated from, or parts of it were translated from Hebrew into the Greek, but we have the Greek is the one that we have, or that was that's been, you know, utilized. But nonetheless, that's why you see H and G for Hebrew and Greek, right? So now let's go to the Hebrew section, like the brother said, H3915. H3915. There's some different forms, but you'll see, which also helps you know the pronunciation, that ha at the end tells you that no matter how you see it, it's going to be pronounced la yala. La yala, right? From the same as H3883, properly a twist away of the light, i.e., night. Figuratively, adversity, night, midnight, night season. See it right here? My bad. Right? Night. So day is Yawam, night is Layala, right? So what if we did it in the opposite direction to learn how to speak it? What if we had this but didn't have these transliterations? Would we know how to pronounce them? Especially in the Assyrian, is quite difficult, right? But it's something we have to know how to do. So let's get another word. Let's get another word. Since we're on the topic of day and night, is there anything else we can do that be related? Yeah, there actually is a word that we could use or related to time. We can use this word, right? Here we go. I'm just going to write the word. I'm going to tell you what it means. Well, actually, you know what? No, I wouldn't do that to you. It would be too difficult to go in the opposite direction. So this is the word for even or evening, right? Which is what? What does even mean? When the Bible says at even, what does that mean? Right, sundown. That's what at even means, right? The word for at even, I'm just gonna write the Syrian Hebrew form of it. Now someone's gonna have to tell me or type it out for me or something. Right? Hey, shalom, Ma'ashar, how about Shem Shkata? Shalom, Sissy, how Shimon thought about Shem Shot. How would we turn this into this or this. We don't have connectors. How do we do it? What would we say? Again, because this is the process when we're reading in the Sabbath service. When we're reading in the Sabbath service, this is what we have to be able to do. We have to be able to turn in our minds. We have to turn this into this. We have to turn this into this in our minds so we can read it. So how do we turn this? What does this get turned into? Any guesses? Again, just type it out. Let's type it out. We got the letters right here. The same ones from the ancient. Abba, ga, da, ha, wa, za, ha, ta, ya, ka, la, ma, na, sa, I, pa, ta, za, kwa, ra, sha, ta. Exact same sounds. This is not a different language. It's the same language. It's the same Hebrew. This is Hebrew. Don't think that, you're doing a disservice by writing this. This is still Hebrew because you're still speaking the language appropriately, the right way. It would only not be Hebrew if you said Yom Kippur or Lahaim or something like that. Please. It is. Oh, my brother. See, Yanazar being the scholar that he is, he caught something. I'm wrong about something. I mixed the ancient with the Assyrian. My bad. Where's my eraser? Here we go. That's my bad. Salakia to everybody watching. I had y'all trying to guess something that was wrong. This is the wrong symbol. This is correct. Salakia. That's correct. Salakia. Now y'all should be able to get it. No sweat. For time's sake, I'll give it to you, and I'll also give you a little bit of interesting history or relationship on the word. So we'll find it, and then we'll write it out on the board. But the word is Irab. Let's find it. Go to E for even. H6153 for evening, right? So we say even. Oh yeah, you know we're gonna play it too. 6153. See it right here? It's like Irab. Right? Oh, check it out. Oh, no. 53. Look, see, 53 is where it says evening tide, right? So I'm saying it right here. See that? Evening tide. Evening. But notice what? What does H6152 say? Now we know that H6152, the word for evening is Irab. That's an I. I, a ra, and a ba. It's Irab. See how they pronounce it.
Strong's H6153. Erev. Erev.
Erev. Erev. Yeah, yes, because they use the right. That's why they say Mazel Tov. They don't say Tawab, they say Tov, right? Disgusting, right? They said Erev, right? That's not the right word, right? But it does mean even. 86153, even, evening, right? Ereb, which is really Irab. That's the word, Irab, right? Now, check this out. If you go to H6152, that is the word. Let's hear them say it.
Strong's H6152. Arav.
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 Arav, right?
Second entry. Arav. Arav.
Right, whatever. The point being, Irab Irab, which means evening, is where we get what word from? What word comes from Irab that we use today? I'll help you out. It's probably gonna give it to you. A certain group of people. That's right. Irab is where you get the word Arab from. Right? Right? The word Arab. Why do you think that is? Why would the word Arab come from the word Irab? Because the word Irab, even though it means even, but it comes from another word, Slakia. Let's see if we can find it. It comes from another word. Right. It comes from another word. Irab. All of it's related to Irab, right? And we're going to show that in a second. But the root word Irab, right? Let's see if they probably going to say it again. Arab.
Strong's H6148. Arav. Arav.
Right, whatever. It's still Irab, right? This word means mingled, right? Or mixed. Okay? That's what the word Irab means. Okay? Right? It means a primitive root, to braid, intermix, technically to traffic, to mix. That is why Arabia or the Arabs are called that, because they are what? They are a mixed people. They are a mingled people. They're mixed up with a bunch of stuff. Go look at Arabs right now. They are going to range from the blackest people you ever seen to some. They got Arabs over there that you would think were straight up white people. They are completely and utterly mixed. They've always been like that because their area, their zones have always been a place of heavy traffic and mixture from all the commerce and things like that they got going on. But that's what they are, a meddled up, mingled up people. Irab or Arab comes from the word mix, which is Irab. Right, we're going to show the Arabia thing in a second. Right, another word that comes from Arab is to mix. Right, which goes to Arab. Okay. And furthermore, This goes back to a topic we discussed. We're not going to get into all the topics. This happens all the time, but no sweat. All the topics we wanted to discuss today. But the significance, you said something interesting, Yanazor. You said Arabia. Arabia. Let's see how you say Arabia in the Bible. Let's go back to blueletterbible.org and type in Arabia. And let's go to 861:63. That's not a problem because that's the word it comes from. So you'll see it like that. You know what I'm saying? You'll see this Irab to describe the place. Mm-hmm. Two different, which ones? Mm-hmm. 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 No sweat. No, yeah. Ha'arab means it comes from Arabia, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah. The this means the Arabs or the you know what I'm saying, or the Arabians, right? But check it out. If we go to H61:63, right? That's how you say it in Arabian. Yeah, 61:63 in Arabian, and you'll see that they take again the Irab and they add to the end of it a what? A ya, right? That's weird. Yeah, H61:63, Irabia. No sweat. Right, but it's Irabia. That's literally the ancient Hebrew way of saying Arabia. Irabia. And we see this with other things, the Yah being added to the end of a word to turn it into the land or the people that come from that land, right? So another example of that might be what? What's another example of that Yah at the end of a word functioning in that way? Mm-hmm. Arabia. What else is like that? What about Idumea? Somalia. India. What about Ethiopia? Right? Now we know Ethiopia comes from Kush, which is Kawash. But if you were describing Ethiopian, Ethiopia, you wouldn't just say Kush, it would be Kush. Well, in the ancient Hebrew, it would be Kawashia. That Yah at the end of a word like this is how we get literally this thing. Arabia, India, Australia. You follow me? Mm-hmm. All those, whenever you see that IA or even that EA at the end of a word, that comes from Yah. Yah. Okay. It's also where we see what? Things like Israeli. If you see, listen, let me show you. If you see any of these at the end of a word, right? In a model, you see ite, ia, there's more, but I can't think of it right now. But this, you see any of these, all of these literally come from the Yah. All of them. You can prove it by just looking in the Bible. If you look up the word Israelite, how do you say Israelite in ancient Hebrew? Yasher Aliyah, which is the exact same way Israeli and Israelite are essentially the same word. They just denote a person from that area because the Yah at the end of a word is possessive, right? So it's like one belonging to this place. So how would you say, here's another one with ite, right? How do you say Ephraimite? Actually, the yum is cut out. It says aparia, I believe. Aparia. Mm-hmm. What about Simeon? That would be Shemaiwanya. Benjamin is Benjamin, but to say Benjamite is Benyamyanya. Judite, Yahawadia. Just a second, checking another word. Oh, how about this? What about Moabite? Mm-hmm. Yep. Mawa'abia, look it up. H4125. Mawa'abia. Okay, that's one of the many ways in which the Hebrew influences languages going forward. A lot of the things that we say literally come from Hebrew originally. So whenever you hear anyone say Arabia, India, Australia, Austria, you know what I'm saying? Any of those phrases, that comes from ancient Hebrew letters. Right? That the sound literally comes from ancient Hebrew letters. That Ia comes from Yah, Mawa'abia, Yahawadia, and so on. God, we got a couple of minutes left, right? And so we'll spend the last couple of minutes just talking about these prepositions. Okay, I'll leave that on the board, right? So I guess I'll leave that too. So the last thing, since we talked about the Yah at the end, we'll talk. Actually, let's do possessives. We'll talk about these possessives real quick, right? So possessives go at the end of a word in Hebrew. There's quite a few. Let's get the main ones. And also remember that these suffixes can double or can be used similar to pronouns in different circumstances, right? You go at the end of a Hebrew word. Remember that. Actually, to be honest, this is a interesting thing because they double not just as pronouns but also like third person singular pronouns, right? So it can be the possessive form, right? This is a third person possessive form, his, right? But then it also can be like the third person pronoun, he. But then it also can be used, right, to say him. Mm-hmm. Also like so if you do we is nawa. Nawa is we. Or excuse me, our, right? Right? Our. It's also we or us. Right? Then we also have right? Which is plural for your. So this is your plural. Right? And it's also masculine. It's plural and it's masculine. You have kun, which is your plural feminine. Okay. Then we have hum, which is there. That's it, right? There. Of course, which is, it's plural automatically, so I'm going to write that. It's going to be the masculine form. Okay. And it also can be used to say them. Last but not least, hun. Same thing. There. Feminine. There. All right. So if you see, there's a correspondence between all of them. So, ya, me, is a singular form. Now a singular form, me or my is the singular first person, right? Ka, singular second person. Wa and ha, singular third person. Then nawa would be the plural third person. Okay. Come and come would be the plural second person. Hum and hun would be the plural third person, right? There's other suffixes like yum and yun that make a word plural, but right now we're just doing or calling them possessives, so we're not gonna involve those just yet. We'll talk about those next week. Okay, but these will attach to the end of a word to denote possession. Okay, again, amongst other uses, it can also be used just as a pronoun, but for the most part, I won't even say for the most part, but for our purposes right now, you want to understand it in that way as a possessive. So just give me a word, give me a noun, right? Just give me a quick noun before we close out, right? Let's say a bottle of water, right? What is the word for water? Mayum, right? So we'll do it right here. So the word for water is mayum. So if I wanted to say my water, how would I say my water? I'm going to take the word water, which is mayum, and I'm going to attach the appropriate possessive to the end of a word. So now it's going to become what? Mayum, yeah. That's how I would say my water. If I want to say their water, just let's say it's a group of just brothers and sisters. So as we know, in that case, the masculine takes over. So it's a group of brothers and sisters who got their own, I don't know, their own town with their own water supply. I want to say their water, then I'm going to say what? Khan. No, it'll be your water, right? But I'm talking to, so Salaki, you're right. I mean third person. I'm not talking to them, I'm talking about them. They have to fix their water. Khan. Mayumhum. They have to fix their water. Right? If I want to say what's wrong with our water, I'm going to say what? If I want to say, hey, what's wrong with our water? There we go. Mayum nawa. Perfect. So we just got to continue to practice these things, practice transferring these different words that we learn and phrases that we learn into the Assyrian, into the ancient, and also go in reverse. We should look into our Tanakhs and and see if we can't, or just try to find Hebrew texts, pieces of Hebrew text online and just try to decipher them, see what they're saying. That's what we want to start doing, you know what I'm saying, just to practice or whatever, so we can again start to speak this language more fluently. If there's any questions online, you can just type it into the chat. Okay, I'll give you a second. If you got any questions, just type them in. Are there any questions in the room? No sweat. Or young man, you got any questions, or are you good to go?
I'm good to go. Thank you. Shalom.
No sweat. All right, with that, I'm gonna pass the class over to priest and officer Farhana Yanazar.
Security announcements. We are the Isupk, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York, under Commandant General Yohana. And we are, and always have been, and always will be, the home of the truth. New rules for brothers and sisters. When a new brother or a sister comes into the school, they are off limits for 6 months. They are to be saluted only. They are here to shed themselves of the world. After 6 months, if a brother or a sister has an interest in a particular person, he or she must get permission from the head to speak to a brother or sister. There is another 6 months in which the brother or sister will court each other. After this 6-month period, the brother or sister will get permission from the head to marry. Tithe, which is a commandment. You can find this in Numbers 18 and 21 and Malachi chapter 3, verses 8 through 10, means 10th in the Hebrew and is pronounced ma'ashara. 10% of every penny of any increase the Lord gives you, you give to the treasury department or teacher. Priest fund, free will offering for priests, not mandatory, whatever amount you would like to give. Upcoming Holy Convocation, which will be September 25th, Sunday, September 25th, in Fayetteville, North Carolina, which is the memorial of the blowing of the trumpets. Fayetteville, North Carolina, Sunday the 25th. Remind Akim and Akwatiam to check on social media such as isupk.com, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, and so on for ISUBK events and materials. If a brother wants to be a trooper in the school, then he is to start to wearing all black, which includes black boots, shirts, pants, headband, or scarf. And with that,